In the U.S., every 40 seconds, a child is reported missing or abducted. That totals to over 2,000 children every day, or 800,000 per year. Before I tell you why I gave you this piece of information, I'd first like to talk a bit about my author, Dennis Lehane. Dennis Lehane was born on August 4th, 1965, and he grew up in Dorchester, Massachusetts. Growing up in Dorchester in the 1970s and 80s was not the best place to be living as a young kid. The town was referred to as being very caged in and secluded from other neighborhoods. When asked about his neighborhood in a recent interview, Lehane said, quote, "It was a violent place, mostly due to the racial tensions at times. I saw a lot of violence in my youth." Lehane grew up with his 5 older siblings and was cared for by his father, who worked as a warehouse supervisor, and his mother, who worked in a school cafeteria. Lehane considers the lifestyle he grew up with as one of the main contributors to his influences. Many of the cities and places he describes in his novels reflect similarities to the working-class neighborhood he grew up in as a child. Lehane enjoyed writing from a young age and began writing short stories in high school. He made his way to college, surviving the school requirements only with the help of his writing skills. He dropped out of 2 colleges before finally graduating from Florida's Eckerd College in 1988. At this point, Lehane chose to continue the job he had acquired in college, in which he counseled developmentally disabled and disturbed children. The experiences that he had at this job and the behaviors that he saw in the children helped to give him inspiration for the personalities and traits of some of the characters in his stories. Lehane enjoyed reading crime stories all of his life and first decided to try writing some of his own in the early 90s. At this point, he transitioned from short fiction to crime fiction and wrote the first of his series to come, called A Drink Before War. This novel was published a year later, and he received the Shamus Award for Best First Novel. Although Lehane is most well known for his mystery novels, he prefers to think of himself as writing the best book he can and not just focusing on a genre for the marketing aspect. He says in an interview, quote, "The best thing we can do as writers is just write." The novel of Dennis Lehane's that I chose to read was Gone Baby Gone, published in 1998, and the 4th in his most popular series. The 2 main characters which are featured throughout this series are Patrick Kenzie and Angie Gennaro. He uses these 2 dynamic detectives throughout his series to give his audience an exciting relationship to follow. Now I'd like to refer back to the information I gave you guys at the beginning of this presentation. In the same way that I commenced my project, Lehane also starts off the novel Gone Baby Gone with the statement, "Each day in this country, 2,300 children are reported missing." I used a similar statistic to begin my presentation in order to attempt to create the same level of suspense that can be experienced in many of Lehane's novels. Using a shocking statistic like this one as an opening sentence immediately pulls the audience in and sets up a tragic yet intriguing subject for his novel Gone Baby Gone. I believe that Lehane's skill of creating suspense is just one of the impressive qualities that makes his work so successful.